I'm Dr. Leo Powers, and I'm in Plover, Wisconsin here. And today we're going to talk about autism. Autism is a disease of children that they have trouble learning and they have trouble speaking. And part of the reason that they have trouble talking and speaking is I think it's tied in with their hearing. And their hearing, if you don't hear sounds and words, then it's more difficult to learn how to speak. And initially it was thought that it was caused by mercury that's in vaccinations, because they used to put mercury in vaccinations, and then that was causing autism. And professionally, the medical profession has said, no, that's not what causes it. However, there's anecdotal evidence that patients have told me that their child got a lot worse after a vaccination. So that may have something to do with it. I went to a university class, the professor, it was about Intro to the Bible. It was a religious class. However, he needed to learn Yiddish and Greek, and he didn't learn it as a child. So he had to learn it when he was older, when he was a college student, and he said it was very difficult. And then he said that it's easier to learn another language before the age of 2. And the fontanelles, or soft spots in the head, you're born with, and then they close as you continue to get older. And the soft spot tied in with the back of the head, this part right back in here, closes at about 2. And if you need to learn your languages before the age of 2, if you have some undiagnosed ear infection, or if you have a lot of fluid in the middle ear, that will muffle the sounds so you won't hear quite as good. And this may be tied into other mechanical things, that some children are more sensitive to not hearing really good. They can hear but not really good, so it may be mainly a mechanical thing that the child just doesn't learn really good, because for language, tied in with that. The other thing, there was an article that will be attached if you can find it. They did a study that found that autistic children were much more likely to have ear infections, like twice as much as the general population. So more ear infections, less good hearing, and less good speech. There was also information related to countries that have more autism, per 100,000. And in the United States, in 2022, they said 1 out of 100 would have autism. And there's a country in Europe, France and Portugal, has a lower rate of autism, of 1 out of 144, which is lower. And they also have different milk. They found out that it was really interesting. I researched this, and A1 and A2 Holstein cows mainly produce A1 protein, which is less digestible than much less digestible than A2. And A2 milk is produced by the Guernseys and the Jerseys, the colored cows, not the black and white one, but the red and white, or the red colored cows. And there's other cows that are in France and Portugal that produce mainly the A2 protein. And that's more similar to mom's milk. And goats also produce this A2 milk that is much more digestible. And the thing in France is they used raw milk versus pasteurized milk. So that may be a factor, related to autism, because you get more ear infections if you don't have the milk that's easier to digest. And then the other factor is sugar consumption. So sugar tends to pull minerals and vitamins out of your body when you use more sugar. And to make it more easier to understand, there's lots of sources of sugar in the diet, but to compare a can of Coca-Cola that has about 10 teaspoons of sugar in it. So in the United States, people on average use, out of all the people in the United States, so some people use more than this and some people use less. In the United States, people use about over 4 cans of Coca-Cola a day. Now they use other foods, not just Coca-Cola, but that's the amount of sugar that they would get in. And in France, they get slightly more than 2 cans of Coke, regular Coke. And in Portugal, it's a little less than 2 cans of Coke. And Portugal has the lowest, lower rate than France on the autism. So that may affect things. And sugar tends to make yeast grow in the gut, and then yeast can cause ear infections and problems related to that. The other factor, I went to a seminar in California, and there was a chiropractor that presented information, and he had a son that had autism, and then he had to clean. They had to get a super good diet, and then they had carpeting through their house, so they tore all the carpeting out and put in hardwood floors or laminate that didn't have the carpeting, because the problem with carpeting is when you track stuff in, it doesn't get cleaned up right away, and a lot of times it doesn't get cleaned completely. So sometimes people move stuff from outside that's really shouldn't be on the floor, that would cause microbes to grow and things like that, and so then that would affect the ears and the hearing, and a lot of times little children are on the floor. So you get the floor really clean, then they have less ear infections, and there's less likelihood that they would develop the autism. The other thing, I did learn how to do this cranial work back in 2000, and we'll attach other videos to this so that you can learn more about what you can do. But basically, in California, a lot of times people get much better care, related to the Wisconsin. And part of it is because the chiropractors that do cranial work over there have gotten good results. And this doctor actually went over to Europe, and then he treated people over in Europe with Category 1 work, and they got better. So I'm a California chiropractor in Wisconsin. So call this number, and I'm at Plover, Wisconsin. I'm here to help.